Okay, that's the meeting now recording, so I will proceed to take the sederant of the Hamilton Area Committee on the 21st of June 2022. I can see that Councillor Carmichael is present, as is Councillor Chalmers, Councillor Clark and Councillor Dempsey. Councillor Devlin is also present. Councillor Dewar?
Yep.
You're here. Thank you, Councillor. I can see that we also have Councillor Donnelly, Councillor Falconer and Councillor Handybode. Councillor Horn, are you present? No. I can see that we have Councillor Hose present and Councillor Keat is also present. Councillor McCreary is present. Councillor MacDonald, you're also present. Councillor McGeever? No. Councillor McLachlan?
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor. I have apologies from Councillors Nelson and Councillor Razak. I can see that we have Councillor Ross present and Councillor Thompson. Councillor Toner, are you present? Oh, I can see that you're present.
Yes, yeah.
I'm also present today is myself, Elizabeth Ann McGonigal and Pauline McRae from Administration Services. And with that, I'll pass you back to the Chair to commence today's business. Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth Ann. Today's business item 1, have we any declaration of interests? Councillor Clark.
Yeah, in relation to item 3, with the grants awarded by the Executive Director, I've got a grandparent who volunteers at Trinity Church, which I see is on 2 of the grants. And because the items for noting, I don't believe I'll have to leave the meeting, but I'd like to take advice on that to see whether that's appropriate.
The items are for noting. These have already been approved under delegated authority, so it would be up to yourself if you felt it appropriate to leave. But they are those grants in Appendix 1 are merely for noting. They have been approved previously. They're just here to advise the committee.
Yeah, I'm happy to stay in the meeting if that's appropriate then. Yeah.
That's fine. Thanks for that. Okay, any other declaration of interests? We'll now go on to items for decision. Item 2, the Play Scheme Grant Applications 22-23. Elizabeth Ann.
Hi, so this is the Play Scheme grant report that comes annually to the Area Committee. There are 2 applications for consideration and the recommended amounts are in line with the guidance noted in section 3.2. The total recommended is 1,200 and this is included in the financial position in the Community Grants Report, which is the next item on the agenda. So the 2 applicants are applicant A, Childcare in the Community, Hamilton, and applicant B, Blameless, Hamilton. And can I refer the committee to the recommendation at section 2.1 for the
community grant applications?
Thank you, Chair. This is a standard report submitted in respect of community grant applications, and as the committee can see, there are 6 grant applications for consideration. The recommended amounts are in line with the guidance used across the area committees, which was circulated to all members on the 31st of May. The summary of the financial position is provided in section 5 of the report. And also, as previously noted, the 5 applications that were approved under delegated authority are detailed in Appendix 1 for noting. So if I could just refer the committee back to the recommendations at 2, and that is to approve the 6 community grant applications, and recommendation 2 is to note the grants that were approved under delegated authority.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, as a new council, I'm wondering if it's worth it being briefly explained the grants that received less funding than requested, and the procedures behind that. Just a brief explanation, if that's appropriate.
Yes, certainly, Councillor. So we do have community grant information, a guidance document. I'm just going through some the guidance note. Was there a particular application and that you were referring to?
No, not particularly for myself.
Okay, so typically £200 has been the amount awarded for an outing. So you can see that in application D. Uniformed organisations generally are awarded an amount of £350. Startup grants are typically awarded £250 as well, and that's because it's a new organisation. We don't have previous bank statements for them or accounts. With regards to other things, variable things like environmental projects, entrance fees, equipment and materials, we generally recommend a sort of 60% of what the organisation has requested, but ultimately it is up for the committee to make the final decision on the amounts awarded. But we just, as officers, use the guidance as it currently stands to put in a recommendation for the committee.
I can just quickly, yeah. It's wondering what I'm happy with that answer, thank you. I'm wondering if what's the appropriate times for maybe the committee or elsewhere to review the guidance in future, and when that would be appropriate.
Chair, I don't know if you want me to through yourself. So the guidance is being looked at across the 4 area committees. So there will be a meeting with chairs and deputies and officers to review the current guidance, because they haven't been reviewed for some time. So we think that now is an appropriate time to do so.
Okay. Councillor Donnelly.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to move on 1A for the community grants, Hill House Link Tenants and Residents Association. Their ask was 1,500, and because it was 60% awarded, we are suggesting today 900. I just want to make a plea to this group. This group has worked robustly within the community. They are setting up a play area, and they've got schools involved in doing planting, and made this application to the area committee as a lot of their own funds is going out in a community cafe and a larder, community larder. So they applied to the area committee for 1,500 for their play area to go forward to help them develop that. And I would make a plea to this meeting today that we award their full ask, which is 1,500. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, Councillor Donnelly. As it was recommended, the 60%, I think we should follow that, bearing in mind that the area chairs are meeting next week to go through the criteria. I've actually just left the meeting that the Hill House Links were at, which is the participatory budget meeting, and there is access for other funds for them. So in this particular interest, I think I would recommend we just have the £900, and we'll wait to see what happens with the area chairs on deciding the criteria.
Chair, okay. Can I move that? Chair, can I come back in?
Certainly.
Under the SNP administration, I think it was one of your own colleagues, Andrew Carmichael, had moved that we look at applications on their merit, each one. And that is why I'm moving this. So I'm wanting to go to the vote, Chair, that we do support the 1,500 going to this group.
Right, you're quite entitled to do that, Councillor Donnelly. But as has been explained to you, the chairs of all the area committees are meeting on Monday to go through the whole criteria of how the grants are decided. So I think it'd be unwise to make a move like that just now. But if you wish to make that proposal,
sorry, Chair, I do wish to move it.
So what do you want to move?
I want to move that we honour the 1,500 to this group in particular.
Have you got a seconder for that? Councillor Clark. Okay. Then I'll propose that we accept the paper as it is. Can I have a seconder?
Second it, Chair.
Okay. We'll take the amendment first. Proposal.
Thank you, Chair. So we're going to go to a vote for Community Grant Application A, Hill House Link Tenants and Residents Association. The motion is that £900 be awarded to the grant. That was proposed by Councillor Faulkner and seconded by Councillor Devlin. The amendment was proposed by Councillor Donnelly and seconded by Councillor Clark, and that is that the full amount of £1,500 is awarded. So I'm just going to take the vote by roll call.
Chair, can I just clarify before we actually move to the vote, are we agreeing the remainder of the amounts on the paper, and are we only just voting on the one item, or is there likely to be a further vote or a further amendment proposed for any of the further items?
Martin.
I think if the outcome of the upcoming vote awards the full award to applicant 1A, then it's unfair for applicant 1B not to receive the full grant. So I think that if we are going to vote and the outcome is for the amendment, I would be aggrieved if Quarter and Bloom only receive 60%. So it's just an observation. Thank you.
Do you want to make a proposal to that effect?
No, I don't want to make a proposal. We'll see the outcome of the first, because it's a moot point if the amendment doesn't follow. So
I think I would remind the committee that we've already stated that the area chairs will be meeting on Monday to go through the whole criteria of the grants and how they're awarded, as that's not been done for quite a while. Okay. Right, we've got a motion and an amendment.
Thanks, Chair. Just to say that we are taking the paper as a whole and we're only voting on item 1E. Okay. I'll pass back to Elizabeth for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. So I've gone through the motion and the amendment. So when I read out your name, if you can let me know if you're voting for the motion, the amendment, or if you're abstaining. Councillor Carmichael.
For the motion.
Councillor Chalmers.
Amendment.
Councillor Clark.
Amendment.
Councillor Dempsey.
Amendment.
Councillor Devlin. Councillor Dewar.
Amendment.
Councillor Donnelly.
Amendment.
Councillor Faulkner.
Motion.
Councillor Hantibode. Councillor Horn is not here. Councillor Hose.
motion.
Councillor Keat.
Motion.
Councillor McCreary.
Motion.
Councillor MacDonald.
Motion.
Councillor McGeever, you're not present. Councillor McLachlan.
Motion.
Councillor Nelson isn't present, as is Councillor Razak. Councillor Ross.
Amendment.
Councillor Thompson.
Motion.
And Councillor Toner.
Amendment.
Thank you. I'll just tally up the votes. Hi, Chair. I can advise that 7 members voted in favour of the amendment and 10 members voted in favour of the motion. No members abstained. I therefore declare the motion carried.
Thanks for that, Elizabeth Ann. Okay, carry on. Appendix 1.
Yes.
Right. Appendix 1, you'll notice community grants approved by the Executive Director 16th of February to 31st of March. This is for noting only. Any comments, observations? No.
The rest.
Sorry?
The check if the rest of the grants are agreed.
Okay. I thought we'd agreed them all. Right, the clerk's pointing out to we've still to approve all the other grants. I thought we'd approved that. Right, 1B, Quarter in Bloom.
Yeah, we're just going to take them and
We take them all as approved.
Agreed.
Okay, any other comments up? No. Right, okay, thanks very much for that. And in the last page, Appendix 1, the Executive Director of Finance applicants from the 16th of February to 31st of March. We agree to note that. Thank you. There's been no further business. Thanks very much for your attendance.
Thanks, Chair.
Okay,
Thanks, Chair.
Thanks.